Hello, my mimics, and welcome back to the Mimic Commentary, episode 92. I think we had a fun last episode. I thought that one was pretty fun. It gave me a lot to think about. This episode, we're gonna do the Belfries. The thing that I thought was fun from the last episode is how Grace really wants us to go towards Caria Manor. Caria Manor, I don't know if we have enough strength, but Caria Manor, yeah, we could go to Caria Manor. It's daytime over here, and lots of spirit jellyfish. In Limgrave, spirit jellyfish only appeared at night. Perhaps the spirit jellyfish... Ooh, I have an idea of why they're here. It could be the glintstone. Or perhaps there's something in the sky we cannot see. Here we have... Do we have actually what it says about the Mausoleum Knights? The wing-shaped ornaments on the back evoke the Deathbirds, a self-inflicted curse that ties the spirits of these Leo Knights to the land, having willingly beheaded themselves. So these guys look just like the Mausoleum Knights, but they're Carian Troll Knights, and they have willingly beheaded themselves to protect this area. There's also the spirits of the jellyfish here. So whatever is up here, the Carians do not want people here. They do not want people getting whatever this resource is or knowing what's up here. I've been continuing doing my outline for the Night Rain video. And what I've noticed is just how much I'm focusing on not doing... Oh, I can't do a crit on him because he doesn't have a head. What I've noticed is I'm not doing much on, like, oh, what's Wilder up to, like, yet. Like, I've been focusing a lot on trying to express in a condensed way a lot of the themes and mechanics we've been talking about in this series. You know, if you've been watching up to this point, if I asked you, what is the Erd tree made out of, and why is that important? Or what's really the power of glintstone? You know, we should all answer. Well, so far what we've seen, it's souls and memory. That inside of the Erd tree, it's got the power of it's turning souls into memory. And inside a glintstone, it's souls and memory, and that's something that that these factions are all fighting for. They're all fighting for information, they're all fighting for knowledge, and they're all trying to get power. And that power comes from souls and knowledge. And I don't think, and I'm putting a lot of time into making sure that's expressed well enough that people understand why it's important and how it impacts the story. You know, our main character that we are following right now, you know, the reason why we're on this journey is because Melina is our maiden. Like, she is leveling us up. She allowed us to go to the Round Table Hold. We're taking her to the Erd Tree. Torrent told her to pick us, even though she's like, I don't know, this guy doesn't seem like much. And she's an amnesiac. She doesn't have her memories. And that's, you know, that seems really important. What doesn't she know, and why isn't she supposed to know it? Then we have all this about the Carians and the Academy, and the Carians know more than the Academy, and then what does Radigan learn when he comes here? And just thinking about how characters change when they learn new information. And what that information is, and what you could do with that information. Like, you could literally turn it into power, but, like, what else? You know, what does Marika not want people to know? What do the Carians not want people to know? You know, it seems like we could split the groups in Elden Ring between people who know and people who don't know. You know, like if it was Marx, the haves and the have-nots, and the have is his knowledge. People who have knowledge and people who don't have knowledge. And that's kind of like what we're doing too. You know, our character, when we start, we don't know anything. You know, people are looking up, you know, lore videos because they want to know what's going on in the story. And many powers that be within Elden Ring do not want the player character to know things. It is not advantageous for our character to know what's going on. Because then we could start making informed decisions, and those decisions would probably not be advantageous for many of the groups that are trying to manipulate us. You know, like when someone tells us to do something or ask something in this game, we have to be thinking, well, what's their motive? What do they want? What, you know, do they know something about us? You know, Torrent knew something about us. What does he know about us that makes us special? If we compare ourselves to any other Tarnished, you know, the only real difference between us and any other Tarnished is like the player. Like the player is the only thing that separates us from any NPC. We're the only person, literally the only person in this world. We are the only character in the story that has any real agency. Get beautiful look of Caria Manor. So that's kind of important too, because then we go down that line of thought. We ask like, oh, what do they know? Why do they know it? And why do they make these decisions? And we could start, you know, when we ask like, well, why did someone choose us? Oh, we have agency. Like, is that part of it? Does someone know that our character is controlled by a human being? So that's something interesting to think about. And it's not far out of the realm of possibility for a video game, because it's a piece of art that we have a direct hand in. You know, there are books and movies and TV shows that are like, oh, I know somebody's watching me. You know, Deadpool is like that, but it doesn't really do anything for the story. In the Mouth of Madness is a movie that comes to mind. What else? What's another one that comes to mind? Oh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, that's just kind of jokey. But, like, you know, someone who knows that they're in a story, and by affecting the person who is consuming that story, who's engaging with that story, how does that change it for them? And that's kind of like, that I think might be the big thing. That might be the big thing. So now we're at the Four Belfries. This is guarded by the Carians. What do the Carians have here that they want us to have? Well, so first let's look at, these are 4 belfries with 3 bells each. When we think of bells, we got to think of our spirit calling bell. So is this something to summon spirits? We have, just by looking, without doing too much investigation, imp sealed statues, and then our sending gates. These are the eternal sending gates with lilies on them. These are found in and around the Eternal City, and they were used all throughout Liurnia. I was actually thinking about, why are these all throughout Liurnia specifically? There's one in the Purified Ruins that just brings you to the Academy. There's one right here that brings you to Caria Manor. What else? I think there's a few that just like it. There's a few. There's one in the church, in the Academy, that brings you to the church. And I was thinking that, well, the Academy must be using them to do troop transport, and they're only one way. So I could imagine that, you know, there's one at the Purified Ruins. I was thinking that since we found Raya Lucaria soldiers here who were cleansing those who were afflicted with a flame of frenzy, they bring the sending gate here so they can purify the ruins and then immediately go back to home base. And that's kind of what I think they were doing there. Before we read any of the information on here, we have roots coming up into a tree, into a man, a bearded man. Well, so we should immediately start thinking. Did you see? Yeah, there's 4 there. We should immediately start thinking. Oh, and by the way, before I got, we had Trina lilies pointing us to this direction. So something about Saint Trina wants us to investigate the 4 belfries. We have the Mausoleum compound, and we have Ainzel, and we have Shifra with the bearded man who had 2 tablets, one with a tree on it and one with the Imago Mundi, the map of the world, the Babylonian map of the world, and tree roots coming down from him. So this looks like this guy is evoking the Moses figure. You know, we were when we saw him down here, where there was that big red lake, that big rotten lake, I was like, you know what, that's a Moses character. So perhaps this is a Moses character. If he's Moses, then he's prophet. So this might be tied to prophecy. Then a little bit further up, what do we have? Oh, I can't really see with my binoculars. We got a skull. So something to do with death. And then a skull and bone, 2 skulls. Oh, does that look like farm architecture there? No, I don't think that's farm. And then what's that thing above there? Oh, look, there's the sun. What time is it? Early day. No, nothing there. Okay. Oh, the spirit jellyfish thing. We'll get to that. Why I think the spirit jellyfish is out. Remember that spirits only come out at night. Why are they out in Liurnia? Well, there's the sun. It's obviously day, and there's the Erd Tree, and then there's the moon. Ho ho ho. Okay, what does it say? Let there be death. That wasn't what we want. Crumbling lands. Okay. So if we put in our key, we'll go to the crumbling lands. The prophet points us to the crumbling lands. Then we have 2 here, kind of an equal footing. The prophet at this one will bring us to night sky unceasing. Okay. And this one will bring us to precipice of anticipation. Ooh, precipice of anticipation. And one last prophet, the 4th prophet, just has a chest. And what do we have inside? Imbued sword key. This is our 2nd one. We found one in the academy. But there's 3 gates, so we have to choose. Breaks the seal of the imp statues guarding the sending gates enshrined in each belfry. Enshrined. But remains embedded in the statue after use, meaning it can only be used once. This is actually, I think this area, yeah, this is a great spot for farming herba. So if you need to farm herba for crafting, come here. This spot is like phenomenal. You get, that was like 6 in one go. You just make a loop. You can also get Erd Leaf here, but yeah, you can get Erd Leaf and herba. The Jarberg doesn't really give us enough herba. This one's really fast. Wow, you can really see so much. This is a really great vantage point. This, looking at the bridge, how tall this bridge is, it's hard to say because, like, you know, it looks like this place really is sunken. I think we could tell that the place should have been like the world has been like unformed and reformed in some way, if that makes sense. Like these jutting pillars, like these ones, this makes me think that like the ground is sinking in and these are just some rocks that are jutting out. Like this bridge is so high up, it must have been a bridge that was like going through the water, right? That's what I think. Okay, let's do this one first. This is our precipice of anticipation. Well, I only know of one anticipation. Let's go. The Chapel of Anticipation, where our journey began 90 plus episodes ago. We died chasing nascent butterflies. And this was also the start of the Trina Lily episode. You can't actually see that spot. So this is where our prophet began. Maybe it'll be good to look at this area and think, do we have any new ideas of what we're seeing? But the first thing is like, well, the Carians have a connection to the Chapel of Anticipation. This is where our prophesized tarnished begins. Us. So they know about us. They know about the prophecy. The prophecy of burning the Erd Tree, but maybe another one. Here, we can already tell. So this, we have our Stormhawks. And then we have, oh, these are like near Farm Azula, the beasts. These guys we find in the Bestial Sanctum. So we have our Stormhawks. Then we have Sarash. Then we have these other types of lions. Any lilies? Not really seeing lilies. And then a woman doing libation. When we see that, we should be thinking America. Now this place, I should think America. This place has graves. So this is older than the Erd Tree. This is older than the Erd Tree. We have... Wow. That statue of the woman, though, might be newer. But this is interesting that we have the hawks, the beasts, and it's interesting too that this is there's no tree here. We're not seeing any tree. And when we look at our Godric surcoat, the tree and beast surcoat of the Erd tree and the beast regent coming together, the beast regent being Sarash. Do we have that? Beast depicts Sarash, aged counselor who guides the golden lineage. So he's aged, he's old, and he's guiding the golden lineage, which is Godfrey and his lot. So he's guiding Godfrey. So I think we can deduce, and we also saw in Stormvale Castle here, that the Godfrey statue was in front of the Sarash statue. So Godfrey seems like he took Sarash's sigil. Like he might be, maybe he's the son of Sarash, but it's hard to say because he's the regent. So if he has a regency, that means a person who is rule in place of a monarch. So Sarash has the symbols, but Godfrey is ruling, but he's guiding the ruler. So he is from this older beast culture, tied to beasts, stormhawks, and maybe dragons. We don't see any dragon ornamentation here, but it also related to Marika. So it looks like things changed with Marika. This too, this statue is newer than the pedestal it's put on. And here we're getting the beasts again flourishing into a tree with like llama heads and then 2 lions. Perhaps, do we have any idea? Well, when we fight lions, we get Old Fangs, which is about the Crucible. What about this? Vestiges of Crucible primordial life. It was considered to signify the divine in ancient times, having aspects of various creatures. So these could be symbolic of worshipping animals. Then we get these newer statues, more lions. But these are separate. Look, this is what we said in the first episode. These are in front. They're not. Why wouldn't they put it in? And it looks like, which one's newer? Well, then we have this giant statue of Marika. If this is the Chapel of Anticipation where the prophesized turn is supposed to come, it would make sense for them to come out here. We get a Erdtree symbol. Now, this is Erdtree with the Elden Ring, indicating an ancient, actually. Let's see if we have it on there. Ancient Erdtree incantations. Ancient. We don't have any Erdtree worship stuff yet, do we? No, we're still missing that gap. So, ancient Erdtree design, then Marika. Marika is greeting the prophesized Tarnished in giant stature. And the Karians know about this. These look like graves going into the sea. It's falling apart, but we look at the graves too. Again, beasts, no tree. So far, there's no tree here. So the Chapel of Anticipation, we don't know how long it's been the Chapel of Anticipation, but it seems like this place was built. It could have been built in anticipation before the Erdtree. So this prophesized Tarnish, this character of prophecy, who is going to burn the Erdtree, but, prophecy is a little wonky. There we have our Erdtree Knight type of guy. He is we just deduced was a newer statue from the Grand Lift. Younger than Erdtree Sentinels, but newer than others. So there could be prophecies in this culture. I mean, the future is the same for everybody, obviously. So whoever built the Chapel of Anticipation, it's looking like it's Sunrealm. They built it, and maybe they thought there was a prophetic person coming. There was someone of prophecy that they were interested in. Here we have these molted roots. Now we learned about this in Stormvale. This is most likely coming from the visage of the Prince of Death, a holy relic from the Knight of Black Knives that's encroaching the Chapel of Anticipation. So yeah, it seems like, multiple cultures. Yeah, the roots are coming all the way over here. Stormvale Castle may have been built. Like, these both may have been built in tandem. We also saw from the paintings that and we also saw, actually we can kind of see it here too. This kind of looks like big trees. It looks like trees right here. Like, this looks like a tree. And before Stormvale Castle was built, this area was in painting. And then we did our prophecy painting. So yeah, I think we have confirmation. Yeah, we did our prophecy painting. and it's showing the Chapel of Anticipation, where the prophesized tarnish comes. And here we are. And this was a prophesized spot before Stormvale was built. Someone painted a rendition of this area before the castle was built, or hearkening back to before the castle was built. But why would you paint that unless the castle not being here was important to you? Now, the doors have trees on it, but doors are made of wood, so these could have been added. Same thing with the reliefs, but we learned that these reliefs are older than might be older than the Erd Tree design. However, this might not be Erd Tree. This could be Great Tree. We're talking about the Erd Tree Empire, but there still has to be a big tree there. This doesn't, Rome wasn't grown in a day. And we could see where our prophecy is leading us right from here. I actually see a lot from here. Here is our dead maiden. Same clothes as Vik's presumed dead maiden. See? So, considering who she was, the Finger Maiden lived to serve a chosen tarnished. Chosen. So, the tarnished is chosen for the maiden, sharing their guidance and wisdom of the two fingers. Well, chosen tarnish, that happens with Melina as well. There is a parallel for Melina. Melina, Torrent chose our tarnish, so she's serving her chosen tarnish, which is us. The guidance of grace will ensure that the pair be brought together. At least such was a promise long ago. Well, that happens to us. We followed the guidance of grace this way, then to here, and then we met Melina. So that all came true, but it seems that not for this woman. She was murdered. Though the path be broken and uncertain, claim your place as Elden Lord. Since Marika is the deity who she banished the tarnished and we returned, this is Marika. We can say almost certainly this is Marika. An older rendition of Marika. It's very different. If not Marika, maybe one of her maidens, like that we see in this portrait, or in this relief. But definitely evoking Marika's, and now this door's open, definitely evoking Marika's sphere of influence. But a different rendition. Marika is always shown with her hair out and her braids, but in those statues she's not. What do we have here? The Stormhawk King. Ashes of a hawk which heed no summons. So we have ashes, and the spirit is tied to these ashes. Why won't he heed any summons? Well, to me, he kind of looks like the hawk in Night Rain, so he won't take any summons because he's busy taxiing the Nightfarers through Limveld. That's kind of my theory on that one. Ashes of a hawk revered by all others as sovereign back in the days when Stormvale's wings still raged like no other. The ancient monarch is proud, however, refusing to answer anyone's summons. Okay, so no one can summon his king. He's a king, he's a monarch, he's a lord, okay? That is king, monarch, lord, those are synonymous with each other. Elden Lord can be the Elden King. He can be the Elden Monarch. They're all synonymous. I'm not saying he was the Elden Lord. I'm just saying that king, monarch, and lord are all synonyms. The Godfrey could have been called the first Elden King, and it wouldn't have made a difference. So this region, we found who used to rule this region before Godric came by, at least, or way before that, probably. Is this a literal hawk king? This guy was the king. This guy, the bird, was the king. So when we think Sirach is the Age of Counselor, he was probably a lion. Like, literally, he's a lion. We have beastmen. So is there a wolf king? We have half wolfman. Enveloped with swirling winds. When I make the arrows, what do we get about the storm? Oh, we could see it on this one, and you could see storm is coming from them. Enshrouded in storm winds. So the Stormhawk King, he is representative of winds and storms. Mostly winds, though, I guess. And what else do we have? And were they interested in the prophecy, too? Now, even though he's the king and all the birds are probably, there was probably still people under his employ. Stormhawk Dean. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirit of Dean the Stormhawk, spirit of a fierce hawk that faithfully rendered lifelong service to the old king of Stormvale long ago. Okay, so the old king of Stormvale is the Stormhawk King. We actually saw paintings in Stormvale of unmolested Stormhawks when the castle was still standing. So the Stormhawks ruled over this castle. So this castle was built, and the Stormhawks ruled over it before they were grafted by Godric. So there was a bird ruling this castle, and most likely there was people there too, I would assume. When the true storm raged. Okay, so when this is a false storm. This ain't a real storm. But he ruled over the true storm. But without him, there is no storm. So perhaps in this world, the leaders, and maybe animalistic leaders, are also embodiments of the natural aspects. That's possible. You know, we know that thoughts and souls can manifest power. And if the lineage of Stormhawk kings is not present, well, then the true storm would be gone. Unless this is the true storm rage, this could be allegory. It could be hyperbole. It might not be a actual storm that is raging. It could be like saying, well, the king is the storm, and when I come, the storm comes. It doesn't actually have to be something magical with actual winds, but we see that they can manifest that power, so it's hard to say. Its cries embolden its fellows in battle, and with tempestuous winds that encircle, it shreds through its foes. Okay, so I like Dean. I like that he does a power buff. Oleg has storm spells, and he's dragon, so we can imagine that the Banished Knights, they, Wings of the Storm. So they were the wings of the storm. These are probably the wings. These guys probably, I would think, worked for the Stormhawk King. Like, they were his knights. The true storm, the Stormhawk King, the king of the storm. Oleg and Envel, these Banished Knights, they were his wings. They were his men who fought for him. They are subservient to a... They were subservient to a hawk, and they worship dragons because they're ornamentation. So dragons are above the hawks, but that works for a Song of Ice and Fire if you think like the Targaryens. And the one we were using was Oleg, who earned the hero's honor of Erdtree Burial for working with the grace-given lord, who is Morgott. So he got Erdtree Burial post-shattering, most likely. Yeah, post-shattering, because he's the Lord of Leyndell. Radagon would have to be the Lord of Leyndell. So Morgott took over with, I guess, Radagon missing. And he got Erdtree Burial, but since the Deathroot's spreading, souls can't return to the old... spirits can't return to the Erdtree. Erdtree can't turn souls into remembrances. Oleg is stuck within the ashes. He's dwelling in these ashes, and we could summon his spirit. But I want to summon him. I want to... Let's put Dean here. We're actually going to have to go back to Roundtable Hold to upgrade him. So maybe we'll do that after we do our next one. So what did we learn at the Chapel of Anticipation coming from the Four Belfries? We learned that this prophecy is an old prophecy. It's an old prophecy, and a lot of people know about it. A lot of people seem to know about this prophecy. The Carians know about this prophecy, and it seems like the Sun Realm also knows about this prophecy. And the fact that the Carians have Ascending Gate, this is their Moses character, knowing about this prophecy, perhaps this shows the Carians, well, Stormvale would probably have been Erdtree Empire by the time they took the Academy. When would the Carians have taken the Academy? There's the two Liurnian Wars, and if they're doing... Radagon is taking over the Academy. We have to think, when would have Rennala bewitched the Academy? When would she have bewitched the Academy? Now, if she bewitched the Academy during the Sun Realm era, before the Erdtree Empire, then she could make an alliance with Stormvale. Okay? If it's after the Erd Tree Empire, then she's not making an alliance with Stormveil. But the Sending Gate is here. She doesn't need to have an alliance because we don't know how the ends of Sending Gates work. You don't seem to need another Sending Gate to make that connection. So it could just be knowledge. Currently, unless anyone can help me out with this, I think that Rennala took over the Academy while it was under... after the Erdtree Empire, because I can't imagine why Godfrey wouldn't have attacked another queen. I could imagine why he wouldn't attack the Academy, because the priest, the high priest, who ran it, the guy in that statue in the Church of the Cuckoo, would probably be like, yeah, we'll be part of your empire. I don't care. Don't bother me. Whatever. That's fine. Sure. We'll pay taxes. Just let me look at my rocks. We are scholars. We're not looking to fight. So that's kind of where I think it has to be during the Erdtree Empire that she would take the Academy and say, well, I'm queen too. Okay, this one is Night Sky Unceasing. Well, I know where there's a Night Sky Unceasing. It's the Eternal City. Nokron is the name of the Eternal City. So this is Nokron. Well, which part is Nokron? This old stone with the Moses figure? Or these black stones that that are very similar to the Wandering Mausoleums that are built into the ceiling? So if we're going to think about, this is actually a good way to think about this. Look at how these are built differently. One is coming down from the ceiling, and one is being built up. I think we can deduce also, since meteorite shards. Now, we already knew the Karians had a connection to the underground. We've already deduced this, that their culture must be incredibly old and incredibly ancient. Oh, look at all those. I've never seen that. I didn't ever notice those before. There's people, robed men, chatting. Patriarchal society, trading information. And then Moses comes along and says, a tree is going to be built in the future, and we have to put our resources in making sure the tree can be made. Let's actually get higher up. And we could see, look at these. Very Majula. Very Ash Lake. These look like giant petrified tree stumps coming out of the ground. Maybe they were trying to grow their own trees. Look at that, yep. Maybe they were trying to grow an Erd tree. Maybe they were trying to fulfill a prophecy. But let's think, what came first? So obviously this is old, this came first. Is this the Eternal City? Well, it could be like Rome, where Rome is known as the Eternal City, and Rome has different layers. And from here we can see that there's another throne woman, like the like over here in Ul. So this is Ul, or that's Ul. What is this? Ooh. Interesting. Copy, original, mimic, genuine article. We have Hollowed Horn Grounds. This doesn't have a name. This is Ul. This is Ul. And this is... Well, when we come over here, it's Uld. So this is Uld. This is Ul. What is this place? What's the name of this place? Doesn't have a name. Is this city a mimic? Is this a copy? Looks like... Oh, this is similar to... We actually learned how this is made. This is made from seeds of stars. So the underground night sky is made from graven mages, so bodies of humans with glintstone combined together, the tradition of the primeval current. So the Eternal City has knowledge of the primeval current. What else do we have about Eternal Cities? Well, we have Starlight Shards, collecting those. These guys have had to have been above ground at one point. That's what I meant to say because of the... I lost my train of thought. Sorry, everybody. It is the Claimant's Harpoon meteorite shard. So most likely meteorites landed here before there was a ceiling. So this place was buried. And after it was buried, these must have been built. This hidden city underground. If we look at our false night sky, so this is false, made from graven mages equivalent, made from sacrifices. When we were in Noxtella, almost said it. Oh, Dragon Kingdom Noxtella. Yeah, we know Nox. So this is Nokron. That's Nox. This is Nokron, and this is Noxtella. Okay, so we do have, Dragon's Kin Soldier Noxtella. So we know this is Noxtella. We saw all of those looked like statues. Those might be equivalent to graven mages. So bodies and souls being manipulated to do this false night sky, and the false night sky seems to be able to do kissed herba, arcane dew. So what is this arcane? The arcane must be something to do with maybe souls. Maybe it's pure soul magic. Maybe that's what arcane is. That could be the case when we look at... Blood Flame Blade, which needs arcane, using blood. If we think about blood echoes and Bloodborne, those are the will and the memories of people. So it could be arcane is tied to blood magic. Maybe that's why. And blood magic maybe blood magic is how we're getting these bubbles. Even though they're clean, they're cleaning you. They're magic that cleans you. This is for searching for oracles, so maybe sacrifice is how we can look at prophecy. Prophets wear blindfolds if they had their eyes gouged out. Maybe that's like sacrificing your sight to see the future. Then we have over here, this has lots of dudes, low poly, definitely built on a tree. So this is a big tree, definitely a big tree. More big trees there, and it's glowing red. And it is... Oh, we're beneath Caelid. Yeah, I think we knew we were beneath Caelid, but that's interesting that we're beneath Caelid. Yeah, I forgot we were beneath Caelid. So we know that the Carians have a connection to the Eternal City, old ancient knowledge, the Eternal City, tied to Marika as well, tied to Marika. She has the Erd Tree and all those memories, and the Carians are protecting memories that are in stone, so they don't want people to have wisdom of stone. Sorry, Torn, I gotta do this on my own. I don't wanna... Is that fall gonna kill me? No, okay, good. And who do we have here? We have a Crucible Knight. Now, a lot of people, I always see, like, if you look at any forum for, like, Elden Ring, people are like, who is that guy? What is he doing? And then you come here and he's like, oh, it's doesn't make sense. Why is he here? It was a waste of time. It's not actually a waste of time. This tells us something very important, I think. I'm going to use some prophetic knowledge, because we're going to tell you straight up. Why is he looking in that direction? Look where he's looking. Right there. Okay? Where does that take you? And who is there? So here's prophetic wisdom outside Mimic commentary. When we get to it in Shadow of the Erd Tree, I'll be like, aha, I told you so. So this is a Crucible Knight, most likely looking to, oh shucks, I was trying to get to the Land of Shadow to follow my leader, Devonia, and I don't know how to get there. I took the Sending Gate in Liurnia, and now I'm stuck here. I can't teleport with grace, like Tarnished can. So I'm just going to stare, and maybe I'll figure out how to get there. We got Malted Necklace, vividly color accoutrement, precious to the ancestral followers. Said to be a budding horn, the ancestral followers believe that horns of long-lived beasts continue to bud like antlers, over and over again, till one day becomes an ancestral spirit. That's interesting. Now what we're thinking, the souls and the spirit, that the spirit is going to become an ancestral spirit. That, what is it? The ancestral believe that the horns of long-lived beasts continue to bud like antlers, so they continue to bud, they continue to grow until they become an ancestral spirit. We went from the body to the spirit. Oh, that makes sense. So the body of this ancestral spirit took us to its actual spirit, but not, its soul. And its spirit was safe here. The spirit was safe down here, and it didn't go into the Erd Tree. Oh, so something about this area prevents, if we think about all these spirits that are running around and all the Ghost Glovewort, the Ancestral Follower spirits, there must be something, maybe it's these stars? Maybe that's the point of these stars? Ooh, this could be like a protective field from the Erd Tree. Like it might stop souls from being absorbed by the Erd Tree. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of Dee's dialogue that he says, thank God you didn't, he didn't say thank God. He's like, you didn't come in contact with Deathroot. You didn't become those who live in death. Your soul will make it to the Erd Tree in time. Honey rays of gold deliver to the spirit. So it might be the case that spirits are protected down here. That could be, ooh, maybe that's why the Carians don't want people learning about the primeval current, not just about the wisdom of stone. They don't want, maybe they do want people's souls to go into the Erd Tree. Or maybe they don't want people to know that you can prevent it, because they might think, oh, well, we've been preventing it. Okay, I got to put on my shield. Sorry, guy, you are not gonna find your commander. Yeah, that was a little prophetic knowledge, but I thought it'd be. I didn't want to be like, oh, speculate. What is he looking at? Like, we're not gonna have an answer, so I'll just give you what the actual answer is. And I think, honestly, I want to stress. Oh no, he can breathe fire, like a dragon. He can breathe fire like a dragon. I want to stress how, when you look at the lore that way, doesn't it seem simple? Doesn't it seem easy? It's not that complex. Oh, we got 2,000 souls. 3,000 runes. Like, why is he looking there? What does that do? Okay. That place up there brings us to somewhere else. This actually tells us something important. That will, just prophetic knowledge. We'll not keeping him in the commentary, but this tells us how people got to the Land of Shadow. Like, obviously we don't know about the Land of Shadow, but if you're thinking like, how did people get to the Land of Shadow? Boom. That's how. This Crucible Knight was trying to get to the Land of Shadow, like someone else. So that tells you when all of those... Actually, that's something I didn't think about. This guy actually told us a lot of lore that we'll have to get back to when we actually get to Shadow of the Erd Tree. It tells us when people went to the Land of Shadow. Oh, wow. He actually is huge lore. Wow. Who would have thought that Crucible Knight had, like, crazy lore? That's awesome. What a great insight. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Crucible Knight. Those were in 3,000 runes. Those are 3,000 memories. And that's it, actually. So, we don't have any more keys. We don't have any more keys. I think that would make sense to end the episode there. So we're going to end the episode here. Next episode, we are going to continue on this path towards Caria Manor. Wow, that was awesome. Cool. Doing the Mimic commentary just unlocks things. Yeah, before I end the episode, it's crazy what replaying the game just tells you. Like, the game is so, I don't know, it just seems like, oh, it's all there. It's not simple, but it's not as, like, difficult as, I think people believe it is. And, that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with that Night Rain video. Why it's all about focus on these topics rather than giving lore. Because I want people to understand that Elden Ring is not impossible to crack. It's not this, like, you have to read all these books and you have to know everything about the authors and you have to, spend so much time with it. Just, like, play the game once through, accumulate that knowledge, read as you go, don't have to be crazy about it. I'm going overboard, obviously. But once you get to it, they're like, oh, why is that guy there? What could he be doing? What is he doing? Why is he doing that? Oh, that's what, okay, that makes sense because yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I don't know. I think Just that one little guy right there can tells you so much about the rest of the game, the rest of the story, and knowing how the world works informs us on what are the limitations of our characters. Alright, everybody, you know the drill. Let's do the thing.